Hello learners, I welcome you to the Module 4 Assessment and Learners Portfolio of Week 9 of the online course on Introduction to Distance and Digital Education. Hope you are enjoying the other sessions, and in this particular session we will focus on Learners Portfolio. Learners Portfolio is an assessment tool. You have already come across the concept of assessment, the type of assessment, differences between assessment and evaluation, and so on. So let us discuss Learners Portfolio as an assessment tool in this particular session. The main objective of this particular session are to discuss the concept of Learners Portfolio, the characteristics of an effective portfolio, then the types of portfolio, advantages and disadvantages of portfolio, then we will analyze the factors that need to be considered for using portfolio as an assessment tool. Now let us move on. You are aware that in everyone's life, assessment is an important part. It is a mechanism to ascertain the ability of a particular person in performing a particular task. The outcome of the task is decoded through a process of evaluation. This is applicable in all spheres of activities, be it in your professional career, education, business, society, and so on. So assessment is everywhere. A person is subject to be assessed in his or her activities. In the process of imparting education, you have seen that the schools, colleges, universities conducts a formal assessment process for the learners, and they are awarded grades or marks, and in this way they recognize their academic activities. It is the process to test and to judge the competency of the learner over a particular curriculum. The assessment tool assesses the learner as an individual. At the same time, it puts him or her in a rank which is comparable to the peers. Now, if we see the concept of learner's portfolio, then we will come across that portfolio becomes an important tool in assessing the learner's performance. As we are discussing assessment, learner's portfolio, we need to focus on that part. In general, portfolio refers to a case or it's a file or folder for carrying documents, drawings, etc. The case or folder that we generally use in offices or at our home to keep our documents systematically. However, the portfolio is not only used in case of assessment or in case of learner's assessment. This particular term, portfolio, is also used in financial world. In financial literacy, the portfolio is often used as an investment portfolio, which means that the investments made by a person in different investment avenues. The portfolio is generally used to keep the documents of related events safely and to make them readily available. So when we use the term portfolio with assessment as a learner's portfolio, it refers to the process of collection of learners' work, their achievements, accomplishments over a particular period of time in connection with their curriculum. This portfolio may contain the thoughts, opinions, reflections made by a particular learner and the material evidence of the learner which he or she have developed during the time of attaining a curriculum. This represents the learner's mastery or the knowledge gained over a particular topic or course of study. So this has been developed or acquired covering a definite time frame. The step-by-step gathering of knowledge is gathered in the particular portfolio. So learner can produce evidence that demonstrate his or her competency over a particular subject. Now, learner's portfolio has become a tool to assess the learner. This tool does not require to comply with the traditional format of a question paper. Instead, it gives a wide scope to the learner to gather the evidences that really demonstrate the skills and knowledge that he or she has gained during the process of learning. The learner's portfolio represents the best efforts, work experiences, progress, collaborative ability, understanding and expressing ability. So, it covers the various aspects of a learner's personality, learner's knowledge, learner's skill, and accumulate it in a particular place which he or she can show as an evidence about his or her ability, his mastery, and his skill over a particular subject. Now, going beyond that, let us discuss the certain characteristics which make a portfolio an effective learner portfolio. A portfolio to be effective must have certain characteristics. So you are aware that portfolio describes the learner in terms of knowledge gained and mastery over a particular subject. Therefore, the following characteristics help you in understanding how a learner portfolio helps in assessing a learner. Number 1. Continuous. The process of building a portfolio is a continuous process. It helps in both summative and formative assessment, and therefore a learner's progress is monitored continuously. So it is a tool to continuously monitor the learner's capability, learner's skill, learner's ability. Multidimensional. We have already discussed in a portfolio the different aspects of a learner are gathered. Therefore, portfolio is multidimensional. The multidimensional aspects of learning can be gathered and assessed to ascertain a learner's achievements on the different aspects during the course of learning. This may be in the form of learner's ability to express, level of skill developed over a period of time, focus of the learner, and so on. Reflection. Portfolio helps in ascertaining a learner's own reflection over a specified period of time based on his or her own perception. The learner develops thinking process, problem-solving attitude, and decision-making capacity by monitoring his or her comprehension and reflecting on the understanding and skill. Next, it is outcome-based. The portfolio helps the learner to match the course outcomes with his or her achievements. The course outcomes set in advance gives a direction on the activities to be done in order to achieve those outcomes. A portfolio demonstrates the evidences on a learner's progress and achievements. Performance-based. Performance-based education is learner-centric and focus on skill enhancement. The portfolio-based assessment is an important component of the performance-based education. This is because the portfolio clearly states the learner's acquisition and application of skills. Time period. The portfolio-based assessment assesses the learner over a period of time, that is, during the entire period of learning the particular curriculum. The learner is assessed continuously for the activities done during the entire period of the curriculum. Then, It is an all-round assessment tool. Learner portfolio is such that it helps in 360-degree assessment of the learner. The individual learner's opinion, attitude, personality, level of knowledge gained, etc., got reflected through the portfolio that he or she maintains. Moreover, it provides the scope for self-evaluation of the work by the learner himself or herself, parents, peers, teachers, external evaluators, and prospective employers. That is why it is termed as all-round assessment tool. All the parties involved, all the stakeholders can assess learner's portfolio and thereby reflect on the learner's learning and provides the scope for self-evaluation. Now let us move to another part of the discussion, that is types of portfolio. So there are different types. First is a documentation portfolio. This type of portfolio collects the work done by the learner over a period of time. This shows how the learner developed over time. This portfolio collects everything from brainstorming activities, comprehension, application of knowledge, etc. Secondly, this is the process portfolio. This portfolio gathers information on the different phases of learning. The learner's ability to integrate the skills in problem solving gets reflected by this portfolio. Showcase portfolio. This type of portfolio is best suited for summative assessment. This portfolio gathers the very best work of the learner, which is determined jointly by the learner and the teacher. This type of portfolio may include audiovisual materials, photographs, electronic records, and so on. Now, as we are moving, it is important to know the stages of developing a portfolio. As we have already discussed, that it is a multidimensional and it gives the scope for assessment by others as well as the scope for self-evaluation. So let us see the stages for developing a portfolio. Number 1, planning and organizing. The first stage of portfolio development is the planning of the activities to be included in the portfolio. The teacher and the learner need to plan and to decide the approach towards portfolio development and organization of items, materials, presentation and storage of the portfolio. Secondly, it is the collection. In this step, decisions need to be taken regarding content and context of the portfolio. The collected matters must reflect the phases of learning of the learner. This depends on the subject matter and the purpose of the portfolio. Third, reflection. The portfolio is an assessment tool. In the development process, therefore, care must be taken to reflect the learner's ability, the skill acquisition, thinking process, etc. Now, as an assessment tool, there are some advantages of using portfolio by a learner. Number 1 is learners can self-evaluate their progress in learning. So each one, by evaluating the portfolio, can understand the level of skill that is gained and what needs to be done to go further. Learners become aware about the strengths and weaknesses. Learner can assume responsibility for their learning. Then, portfolio helps in understanding the process and the outcome. The learning process becomes learner-oriented. So it builds up lifelong learning skill. It promotes interdisciplinary learning. Learner portfolio supplement and complement the other assessment tools. So it is a better way to communicate learners' progress to parents and other stakeholders as well. However, There are some disadvantages also which are faced by learner and the teacher during the process of developing the portfolio. This may be discussed as it involves more time. It requires time because it needs a proper thinking, proper planning and proper organization. So learner and the teacher as well have to invest more time in developing a portfolio as well as in maintaining the portfolio in the due course of the time and during the curriculum. Evaluation becomes subjective sometimes. Administering the evaluation process becomes complex. So preparing guidelines for portfolio assessment is very difficult because this portfolio may be assessed by different stakeholders. So how to assess the portfolio of a particular learner needs to be guided. The whole process of assessment needs proper guidance for proper evaluation. However, this learner portfolio as an assessment tool is used at different levels at universities, as colleges, and for lifelong learning as well. Now let us consider certain factors which need to be considered by the learner and the teacher for using portfolio as an assessment tool. Learner portfolio is built up on the basis of a particular area or a particular subject. The portfolio must carry some advantages over other assessment tool. The present evaluation tool or the system that is in existence must be complemented or supplemented by the portfolio approach, determining the outcome which can effectively be measured with portfolio assessment, ascertaining the type of evidences that need to be gathered for the portfolio, determining the appropriateness of the evidences for learner assessment, preparation of checklist, scoring keys, rules, etc. to guide the assessors in the process of assessment, ensuring that the learners understand the importance and the process of portfolio organization, designing a mechanism to involve the parents in the process of portfolio assessment. So while we are choosing learners' portfolio as an assessment tool, all the stakeholders need to be guided through a particular process. The cooperation between teacher and the learner, and when they plan for the portfolio to be an assessment tool, and what are the evidences, what will be included as an evidence in the portfolio need to be sought out at first before adopting portfolio as an assessment tool. Now, as the technology has developed, it has given us wide scope for portfolio management. Therefore, we can go for electronic portfolio. So, considering the advantages and disadvantages of portfolio assessment, electronic portfolio will bring a change in the entire assessment process. E-portfolio helps us to share with the multiple readers simultaneously. E-portfolios allows for multimedia production submission. It offers search strategies for easy access to materials, makes the updating of the portfolio easier. It creates navigation links which helps the students or the learners to see how their experiences interrelate. It provides learners the opportunity to improve as well as demonstrate their technology skill. It allows faculty to remain in touch with the learners even after their graduation if the portfolio becomes a professional portfolio. Now let us sum up. In this particular session, we have discussed the concept of learner's portfolio, the characteristics of learner's portfolio, like it's a continuous process, it is multidimensional, it is outcome and performance based, etc. Then we have discussed the different types of portfolio like documentation, process, showcase portfolio, the different stages for the development of portfolio. We have also discussed the advantages and disadvantages of portfolio assessment. Then we have discussed the factors that need to be considered for using portfolio as an assessment tool. And lastly, we have discussed the advantages of electronic portfolio. So we have come to the end of this particular session. Hope you have enjoyed the session, and I wish you all the very best for other modules. Thank you very much.